Good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. It's early in the morning here, and I want to get started today. An early start so I can get going back to Memphis. I'm on my way back to Memphis today. Got an 8-hour drive ahead of me. So I want to start early today for my Facebook Live, and I want to answer a really important question because a viewer wrote in and asked, I purchased a cot to train my dog to do place. And my dog's doing really well, but I leave the cot lying in my living room, and my dog hops up on it, chews a toy, takes a nap, and even sleeps on it. Is that okay? Or am I actually harming my training for place? And I think the biggest question you have to ask yourself when you ask that question is, why the cot in the first place? Why would you use a cot in the first place if it didn't have any sort of significant meaning? And when you're first training place, that's exactly what has to happen. When you first get a cot and you put it on your ground and you make your dog get up on this thing, it doesn't mean anything. It is a meaningless stimulus for them. It's unconditioned. It's a stimulus in which they don't care anything about it. It's a neutral. I'm sorry, not unconditioned, but neutral. It doesn't mean anything to them. Therefore, a lot of your beginning training for place is all designed to draw significance to the cot. Significance. In fact, I advise people when you're training, make sure you move the thing around. Don't just have it in your living room or your bedroom or your kitchen or your den. Put it outside, inside. Take it to a friend's house. Take it to a park. In other words, what the dog has to learn very quickly is it's not a matter of where you are, but what you're on. The place cot helps an animal remain where it's told because there's a physical reference for doing so. A physical reference, part of the signal. Remember how I put out many times in these videos that there is no solitary signal. When you want your dog to do a command, know this, your dog's reliable response to any command will be dictated entirely on the conditions in which the command was trained. Entirely. This is part of place. This is part of the condition. And this will create reliability because this thing takes on such a fixed stimulus. Think of it like a red light. I mean, those things have been dangling above intersections for years and years. And that thing draws your attention. It stands out. You notice when you approach an intersection and there's no red light. You also probably notice when you approach one, there's not even a stop sign. And then you think, okay, who stops here? We as mammals, especially predatory mammals, are designed by nature to notice what stands out, what is significant. Now, at the end of the day, I put my cot down, tell Cat off, place, stay. And I leave him there and then take him off the way I'm supposed to and practice it day after day after day. With the passing weeks and months, eventually the signal will morph into the stay and the stay will morph into the place. It will. For instance, breathe. Good job. Move my place out of the way. My little place cot, that is. Okay? Down off. Up. Place. Good boy. And now, suddenly that bench back there just became the cot. A backpack can do that. A mat can do that. Even the dog's bed eventually can do that. Because now it morphs into the word place, changes the object underneath the animal, and creates nearly the same conditions as the cot. Never will be quite the same because that's what the animal was imprinted on in this training, was a cot. I can take Captain by any type of cot. It doesn't matter. It could be a different brand, a different shape, higher, lower, different color, texture. It doesn't matter. If he sees a cot, he wants to get on it and do his own place. It's a safety kind of place, so to speak, for him. He likes it. It's his hangout. But eventually, you can morph the two behaviors, stay and place, together. So you can now use a variety of things to serve as a physical reminder to your dog of where I'm supposed to be at any given moment until I receive the complex signal. The complex signal. And in review of that, that's where we return to the dog. Take control of the dog. Say free. And we make sure we do that step by step by step. 1, 2, 3. That's what makes it complex. Is it's a signal that has 3 separate parts that all serve it for one function. That's what makes it complex. And the neat thing about complex signals is they stand out from all other signals. And again, I'm using nature to help me with that, knowing that my dog will notice what stands out. And that complex signal helps me with that. But in answering that question, again, ask yourself, why would I use a cot to train place in the first place? Why would I do that? Why don't I just say stay? Why don't we just skip the darn cot and just say stay? Because we lack in just training stay that longer endurance, that more solid response to a stay. We lack that from not using a physical reference. Think about as kids, you're playing baseball and you got your foot on the base. That's a reference. It's a reference of where you're supposed to be. If you suddenly got distracted, looked like someone whiffed the ball or whatever, and you stepped up, you would know to go back to that mat before the pitcher throws you out. There's been many studies done on humans who tend to fall asleep or get distracted. And we're not very good as a whole at remembering what it was we were doing right before that we nodded off into la la land, or we got super distracted. But because the cot is part of the signal, it is part of it, no different than the quills are part of the porcupine signal when they puff up, no different than a dog raising its muzzle and showing its teeth. It's the whole signal suite, which now when I wake up, there's part of that signal right here, and that by itself, I'm gonna take Captain off the leash here. Watch what happens. There you go. I mean, I just put a cot down on the ground. I didn't say place, but I pointed. Why did point work? Because in the beginning, when I was first teaching place, I had to show them where place was. Just like you, over there. Someone asked, where's the bathroom in here? It's over there. You point. We tend to point to give people directions. So in the beginning, when I first trained this, I pointed to the cot. Now, that became part of the signal itself. It's in the suite. One thing about suites and why this thing can morph into just a super dynamite stay, so to speak. You can put them up on a cot, up on a bench back there, up on a bed, up on a couch, a chair, park bench, it won't matter, is because with suites, you can start to eliminate components of it. And they'll still do it. But here's the cool thing. You would have to eliminate them for a long period of time. A long period of time. In other words, I'd have to go without pointing at the cot for a long period of time. And how long is that? It depends on the individual dog. That no longer would have any meaning. It would detach itself from the suite because it was not reinforced. And any signal that is not reinforced at a certain threshold level will fade to response 0. Every single out there will do that. So that means that over a period of time, if you just say, I just don't like cots. They're ugly as all get out my house. I don't want to use a cot. Then don't. Use something else. Or just use the word place. Make your dog get on something physical, do your stay, and walk away. Now cots aren't required. Use anything you wish to use. And eventually you can just say stay. But here's the problem. That dog, when it becomes super distracted for a long period of time, or it falls asleep, there is no guarantee that the brain cells will become excited, will have this activation of long-term potentiation, and the animal will remember, was I going to stay? But that reference will serve to create that longer endurance stay, that more reliable stay. So again, just keep in mind, a dog's reliable response to any command is solely dictated by the conditions in which the command was trained. And if you train your dog with a cot or something that is stereotyped in the beginning, like a cot is stereotyped, that thing's only on the floor for one reason, because you're about to get on it and you're going to remain on it until I give you a complex signal. If you do that, your training will be much easier. You'll achieve a reliable response to the command. And then after that, you can start to play with it, adjust, add to, subtract from. That'll be your choice. But me, in the beginning, I don't allow big mistakes. And big mistakes start to happen when things start becoming convoluted. Big mistakes start to happen when you don't provide stereotyped signals and require a stereotype response. And then over a period of time, I'm in control here, so I can adjust things as I need because I'm taking into account that the animal is such an intelligent animal. They're able to discern patterns. They're able to discern events, objects. They're able to do so. Even Captain this morning, he saw me packing up a couple of my bags, just throwing some stuff in big old utility bags that I've gotten. I'm just throwing my stuff in there. And there he is at the front door. He knows we're about to pack up and we're about to go somewhere. They are really smart. Okay, so all that being said, when you train place with your dog, I would always recommend everyone in the beginning use your cot. Use your cot only for place. When you're no longer doing place with the dog, for instance, free. And just put your cot up. Lean it up against the wall, throw it in the closet, do whatever you want to do with it. Put it up. Then when you're ready to do place again, put it down. Use the complex signal to get your dog off, and I guarantee you, I don't care what age your dog is, just give it a couple of months, enough repetition, enough endurance on that cot, that thing will set in so strong that over a period of time, you'll be able to replace the cot with a mat. You'll be able to replace it with a cushion. It doesn't matter. The dog will respond to place on any of those objects just like it does on the cot. So that's my advice. In training, we can always choose to take the hard road or the easy road. And I always like the easy road, not because it's lazy or anything, because I have my dog in mind before I have me in mind. That's always the dog. What makes it easy for the animal to learn? Take advantage of their capabilities, focus on them, and just get it done. And then eventually you'll be able to have place anywhere you want that place to be. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope that clears up that question. I hope you pay attention to that advice because then you'll be able to train a great place. I'm out of here. Got a long drive ahead of me. When I tune in tomorrow, I'll be tuning in from Memphis, and I plan on starting a series on tracking. How do you teach your dog to track? Again, one of my favorite things to do. Anything that involves using nose work with a dog is one of my favorite things to teach them to do. And I think you'll enjoy it as well. So get ready to tune in for that. It's going to last more than a few days, and we'll cover that. Weather dependent. The only time I don't do tracking is, of course, when there's lightning. No. But even in a light rain, we still perform tracking because that water actually helps us as long as it doesn't wash our scent away. So tune in for that. I think you'll learn a thing or two, and maybe you'll want to take up tracking with your dog as well. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. I'll check in with you tomorrow from Memphis. Good job, Cal Dog.